you can see how it all plays out this way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's realistic or not is another issue, but you can see just how like they mixed comedy with some like probably in the 70s there's probably some real world issues going on, and it's definitely true issues of the 1700s or 1800s when the time period of this movie was really taking place, and you would think that the intent is to teach empathy, right?
Right.
But it's coming from a company that like literally benefits the most off of government subsidies, which has always confused me.
Yeah.
They write a lot of movies like this, yet, like, you're the worst type of this.
Yes. That is irony, I believe.
Yeah, I guess so. And they make millions off of telling me they shouldn't make millions.
Yeah.
But back to the archery scene. Even there, they're trying to cheat so the Sheriff of Nottingham gets the kiss.
Yes.
And he's such a good archer that he shoots his own broken arrows to make them land where they're supposed to be.
Well, and wasn't that so cute when Sheriff shoots it and then the
vulture.
Yeah, the vulture's in there and he pops the bullseye up. And so, that was cute.
Yeah, all you see is his little eyes and top of his beak. And then he goes to shoot and they hit his arm or whatever. He shoots up in the air, so he shoots another arrow at that arrow, and it still splits.
Yep.
Sheriff's arrow again, and they can't wait to get him forward because that's when they arrest him, or they attempt to arrest him. And that was a really cool fight scene, I thought, because just before they have him arrested, he's arrested, and John gets a hold of John. Little John gets Prince John, puts a knife to his back, and basically makes him let him go before running off himself. And then the fight happens, and that's when Cluck does the whole running back. And I love the way they film that. Like, she's on the right side, and then she's on the left side, and then it's like from behind her and everything.
Yeah.
They've used that in so many Mickey Mouse shorts. It's not even funny.
Oh, okay.
To this day, they still make episodes in that manner. They'll do little shorts of Mickey Mouse. I forget which one, but there's a new, like, more Asian-style cartoon version of Mickey Mouse that they're doing. And that happens for both football and hockey in two different shorts.
Wow.
So it's a very classically used Disney scene, I guess.
Yeah, and when they're running, from like, the left going to the right and right going to the left, and they're just going back and forth in front of your screen, and then they've got the whole tent moving along, and everyone's just piled on each other. Like, it reminded me a lot of the Fantasia with the alligator and hippo scenes. Remember that? That made me think of that as well.
Yeah, or when the tent is going and it's like a train, they pick up the one guy and keep him moving.
Yeah.
Yep, they have that. But Disney does that a lot because it's reminiscent of other Disney stuff. I mean, it makes sense. They have a style because they are a single company. And still at the time they were not a small company, but they were not nearly as large as they are today.
Yeah.
They didn't have different teams for every single movie. A lot of these people that headed up one movie would now head up the next movie and so on and so forth. For a long time, there was what was called like the original 12 or something like that. And the last one of them retired in the early 80s or something. So they were still involved in all of these movies from the very, very beginning with Walt up until the late 70s, early 80s. So they go back to what they know, what works.
Yep.
You know?
So with Maid Marian, it was interesting that she was like, well, I don't know if he remembers me. And, and then we've got Robin Hood. Well, that's Maid Marian, and she wouldn't remember me. And so they're both sort of going down the same, will they, won't they? And then they get the kiss. And then they go off into the forest, and then we get their soft focus in that song, Love. It's so beautiful. And the waterfall, and so then it's all this dream, and then everyone comes out, and then they have this party, and it's just like the townspeople are celebrating with them, and now they're like together, and so it's like, oh yay, everything's all happy, but then we get that sad song, and then the taxes go up, and And then that amazing fight scene in the castle.
Well, that was great, too. So, taking a step back, one of the things I liked is that in the very beginning, you have the rooster with the guitar,
yes,
ukulele, whatever he's playing.
He's the only one that I know because that is Roger Miller.
Yes. So he starts off with telling you like what people said about Robin Hood, and he goes, "But we remember it a little differently."
Yeah.
And for the first half of that movie, I'm like, "Well, where is he if he remembers it?" And that's when he shows up. He's in the forest.
Yeah.
Then he's in the jail cell.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he is there. Good, they remembered that,
yeah.
you know? And, and then, like you said, that awesome scene. But even better was, like, the one guy was paranoid someone was coming. The one vulture.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what caused the sheriff to get so annoyed that he wouldn't listen anymore.
Yep.
And that's why they were able to break in so easily because of the first one's paranoia.
Yeah.
And Little John acts like he's him, and then when he realized he grabs his beak, and then Robin Hood ended up acting like the other vulture at one point to confuse them. It was just really well done. They give him the keys. He's inside. They close the door on him, so if anyone looked, it would still look like they hadn't gotten out.
Yeah. And it cracks me up every single time I see it when they're in the jail cell and, like, there's the rooster. Like, his leg is scrawny, so you've got this little stick of a leg and then this huge, chain on him. I'm like, he could pull his foot right out and nothing would stop it. And that's like half the animals. They're all in these chains, but, like, they could just literally step out of it. I thought that was funny.
They put the two little mice together with little tiny clasps around their legs and one giant paw.
I know.
But that's like even when the little kid falls and Robin Hood goes back for him, passes him through the gate. And even my wife was like, couldn't Robin Hood just
go through the gate?
Well, he could, but that's not nearly as fun to watch as scaling the building.
Yeah.
And Disney loves burning things to the ground.
Oh, my gosh.
So they were going to burn this jail to the ground. I don't know what was on fire. It's all rock.
Yeah.
But it was on fire.
Well, the curtains, that's what started it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The whole reason they made all those things.
The thatched roof.
Yeah, which is ridiculously not what would be on that thing in real life. You don't make castles out of thatched roofs for that reason. Your enemies shoot fire at it.
Right. But how... I'm trying to remember because obviously this movie has, been around my entire life, but there was a moment where I was like, man, it'd been so long since I'd seen it. Did Robin Hood survive that fall into the moat? And my brain was thinking, okay, first of all, a fall from that height into a tiny moat that's not even deep. I mean, the moat could have been 6 feet. That's still not enough to, and so I was like...
Probably not.
Yeah. And then that moat was so muddy. He would have been splat. That was, yeah. So that you had to suspend your disbelief, and just go with it. And then he uses the little reed to breathe through. And
well, and more importantly, spit all the water in Little John's face.
Yeah.
And it's only the little kid.
Yeah, the little rabbit.
Who has belief and trust in Robin Hood that he's not going to die, that he's going to make it out of this somehow.
Yeah.
Because Little John had given up.
I mean,
Little John had resigned himself to, I lost my best friend. And
that goes to, him idolizing him, that he can, he can't be harmed. He can do no wrong. He's the best. He's their superhero of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And the little kid was right. He made it out. It is interesting because it is one of the movies where, and I'm sure there's more than one or two, but you think Disney, you think there's one major tragedy, loss of life somewhere. In Lion King, Mufasa dies. In Belle doesn't have a mother. Like there's always one. Bambi, the mother gets shot right in the beginning of the movie. Oh. So all these movies have one parent go or someone dies, and that would be the scene right there, right?
Yeah.
Like that would be it. But it doesn't happen. He survives the fall and he swims out. So it must have been 20 feet deep. Because I thought the same thing. I was like, that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking, well, maybe they want that moat to drown people trying to get to the castle. Maybe it's really deep.
But then I was thinking, yeah, it was so brown with all that mud. That would not have been a nice fall to go into water,
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But you've been living in trees for a while, so I guess, it is what it is.
And then comes out and he's all dry and not a mud anywhere. But, it's a cartoon, so. But that was the only part where I was like, I don't buy it. Because I buy everything else.
Because concrete walls setting on fire, that's okay.
Yep, absolutely. And what's worse, your mother's castle. Mama.
Yes. So great. You didn't buy the cheesy line at the end.
Which one?
The in-law for an outlaw for an in-law. I love it.
So corny.
Love it.
Oh, my gosh.
Love it. I like cheesy. I can't help it.
And then, again, with the in chains, so then when King Richard comes back and, reverses everything that Prince John has done and sends Prince John and Hiss to work in the cracking rocks, the rock pile. And again, the snake, who is straight, could just slither right out, but he's got the chain right around his neck.
Yes, he does.
I'm like, oh, please.
Because his shoulders keep him in. That's
oh,
what it
yeah.
is.
The snake has the
snake
shoulders.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's funny, though.
It is. It is.
And again, like, we see that as adults. Maybe my son would figure it out, but my daughter wouldn't. Yeah. She'd just see it and move on.
They're in chains. They're imprisoned.
Sucks for them. Like that would have been the end of it.
Yeah, so we get King Richard coming back and sort of setting things right. But King Richard, and I was thinking about this, that King Richard is still collecting taxes, just not as much.
Right, but if he's fair about it,
if he knows the balance, yeah.
Right, if he knows the balance and he's using it to help the people.
Yeah. And another thing, on the very first, when the Rooster's, narrating to us and is talking about how King Richard is going off on the Crusades. And I'm like, well, that's a good thing that us as kids don't know what the Crusades really meant, because that's not a good thing.
No, and yet they portray the church as good.
Yes.
And the church is the one that was setting up the Crusades.
Yes. And the destruction and how they were so cruel to people. That whole crusade is not a nice period, and they just gloss right on over it.
Right. It never really happened. But yes, we're led to believe that that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not taught the actual history of the Crusades, you just saw this movie, you wouldn't.
Yeah, you would never know.
On the Crusade.
Yeah, Prince John.
Yeah. But it's true, because I've seen in pop culture in general, I'm a Crusader. It's like a plot point in video games and stuff, and like, you're the good guy in that game, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a.
No, but the church.
Good. Yeah.
But the church and the government at the time.
Yeah.
When he leaves, the church and the government are opposed to each other, with Prince John in charge. But the church and the government are together with King
Richard.
Yes, him too. I'm terrible with names, and it's like 1:00 in the morning.
And that's why I'm here. That's okay.
So with that guy, they're together, and you assume like we were saying, he's still collecting taxes, but taxes aren't inherently bad.
Right.
Like, if he's using those taxes to build roads or create hospitals or whatever, then that's good, right?
Yes.
That's using it for public good.
Mm-hmm.
However, Prince John was just using it to get himself more crowns, that's why it's bad. And he just wanted more of it and taxed them until they couldn't afford it and then put him in jail. But it gives the appearance, at least when that happens, that everything's better. Like, people are there, people are throwing rice. Like, they wouldn't have thrown rice even for Robin Hood's wedding, they wouldn't have thrown rice because they wouldn't have had rice.
Right.
Because they were taxed so hard.
Yeah.
But what gets glossed over, I think, is Robin Hood's next in line to be king.
No, now you understand that Maid Marian is King Richard's niece, not daughter.
Yeah, but
it's a niece.
But how? Because it's not Prince John's kid.
Maybe it's King Robert's daughter. See what
there
I
you
did
go.
there.
See? So he's still next in line to be king somewhere.
Well, we don't know
King
if
Robert.